is that maybe I like teaching more for selfish reasons.
So easy right now to tell you that you're the one for me.
I'm in an excellent mood today. As a matter of fact, my good mood started last night. So it's funny because if you guys watched the vlog yesterday, it was roughly 8:15, 8:30 p.m. I was feeling not in the greatest mood. Probably by about 11:30 p.m., somewhere around there, I was in a much better mood because I realized that number one, the things I was pissed off about in the grand scheme of things were extremely minor. And then, second of all, I was like, actually, I can just figure this out tomorrow. All these things that are bothering me right now, they're very minor. They're very problem solvable very quickly. Long story short, basically what's happening is, basically my self-employedness so far, I've been reasonably happy with how, like, the income side of things have been growing. Like, earning enough money, finding students, like, a lot of that stuff is... It's obviously, there's a lot of work left to do, but it's in a decent place as of right now. The one thing that I'm not overly happy with as of right now, and I realized this yesterday, is I'm not 100% happy with just where my social, how do I say this? My whole social growth, where it's at in terms of like social media and following. Like it's in a good place. It's like grown a lot in the past 8 months, and I'm very happy with how it has. But I feel like I've reached a bit of a plateau, and I want to push past it. So gonna spend the next 20-25 minutes doing a quick problem solve on that.
Just come with me and we'll take on the world. There's nothing that you and I won't see. I've been thinking a long time, baby, that you're the one for me. You're the one for me. We've had our ups and downs, that's for sure. I swear I never felt something.
I have a really funny story for you guys. I had coffee with a cousin of mine today who I haven't seen in a very long time, and one thing I don't really talk a lot about is that my dad's side of the family is all from Fiji, and so they all speak Hindi, but they speak a bit of a Fijian Hindi, which is a very different Hindi than what you might hear like in India. And it's funny because my cousin said something quite fascinating. She said that when she speaks, what comes out of her mouth very naturally is like Fijian Hindi, because she speaks it basically like English, right? However, when she sings, because I think she does some singing, when she sings, it is very natural, very easy for her to sing using like a Indian Hindi per se. And so, it's really interesting when we're talking about that. And, when we're discussing this, she was like, I don't know if it's because I just memorized a lot of the lyrics, and so I can speak it like they would in India. I don't know if it's because it's a different part of the brain that's developed. I don't know if it's because my brain is compartmentalized. Fijian Hindi for speaking, Indian Hindi for singing. Like, I don't know. And I thought it's really interesting too, and I have no idea why that is. But if you guys have any thoughts, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. In university, so often, this is maybe you know this, maybe you already know. It is very common that when you turn 18 years old, you have to leave your house and your parents don't give you money anymore. You have to find a job, you have to pay for university, you have to pay for your apartment, you have to live completely by yourself because now you are an adult, you should not be living at home, you need to do it yourself. Very common in Canadian culture. So sometimes people have a hard time because university in Canada it is expensive. In the USA, it is even more expensive. So what happens is that they're 18 years old, they need to pay for rent in their apartment, they have to pay for their university. So university is about, depends on your school. So my school that I went to was about, well, what was it? I think it was $4,000. Sorry, wrong. $8,000 per year, and you have to buy all of your books. So maybe you have $1,000, or actually, yeah, maybe $500. Maybe depends, $500 to $1,000 for your books. So maybe $8,000 to $9,000 just for the school, the classes. Then the 18-year-old has to find an apartment. So then they have to find an apartment, and they have to pay for the rent every single month. then you have to pay for your food, and then you have to, so then they have to work, and they have to study, so they have to work to be able to pay for their apartment and all of their living expenses. It's very, very common, extremely common.
So pure. Right now I doubt if I could want you more. But let you go. I don't say this in
Fun fact for you guys, Instagram, I realized something really interesting. This is going to sound super silly, but I will elaborate a bit. I love languages more than I actually thought that I love languages. Weird statement, let me elaborate. So I've noticed recently that basically what happens is on a day-to-day basis, like I literally can sit for very long periods of time talking and speaking in different languages, learning different words, studying languages, and most things in my life, I don't have that attention span. Like I just can't sit there for 3 hours or 2 hours or whatever it is, just like doing the same thing. But with languages, I often can do that. So something interesting I just noticed, like right now. It's true, Instagram. I was about to turn this off YouTube, but let me elaborate for the YouTubes. Like I can sit here, make my audio for Mandarin, for French, for Spanish, for English. Then I can research some different words I didn't know. I can listen to my old audios, think about like how I can improve my accent, how I can improve the vocabulary, what I could have done better. Like you know, watching Chinese TV in the morning and like listening to songs and looking at the lyrics, and like that's why I can teach. And like my teaching in a lot of ways for me is my learning. Like that's, in a lot of ways, I like teaching because that is a way for me to keep learning. Isn't that interesting? Like it's fascinating. Because I used to think that I like teaching, which I do, but I think that one of the reasons, I do like to see my students succeed. I like to do that. I like to see them succeed. It's like a problem. It's important for me. But the real honest truth, one of the real honest truth of that, I like teaching. Maybe I'll need to think about this more to make sure it's true, but the thought that's occurred to me that I'm going to sit on for a while is that maybe I like teaching more for selfish reasons. Maybe I like teaching because it allows me to use different languages and to improve different languages and to maintain different languages to etc. Maybe. Interesting. Something to think about for me. Yeah.